Guys, in that chat, press F for respect, because Concord is on the way out. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Cows channel. We are taking a look at... It depends on your point of view. Some people will say this is good news, some people say it was sad news, but we're looking at Video Games Chronicle Tom Ivan, another mainstay here on all news, as we are on A Cow's Opinion, where I go over the latest and greatest news that I can find. Sometimes it's sad. Again, other people may consider this great. But don't get too mad about it because it's just A Cow's Opinion. It's a moot point. And Sony announced today, the first day after Labor Day, which was on a holiday here in the United States for my international fans, all 5 of you, that Concord is being taken offline, no more sales, and everyone's going to be refunded. So we're going to take a look at this, because it has been announced since its release a couple weeks ago on August 23rd that it may have sold as few as 25,000 copies for hundreds of millions of dollars of development and years of development. It's a great for an indie game for a 1 to 3 man studio, but not great for them. So the announcement got made in a PlayStation blog post by Ryan Ellis, who's the game director at Firewalk Studios, who's in charge of this. And we're going to see what he says. So, Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC, and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. However, while many qualities of the experience resonate with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Therefore, at this time, we've decided to take the game offline. This is a drastic approach. They're not staying and fighting, they're just bailing. Beginning September 6th, which is literally just the end of this week. They're going to, before they go home for the weekend, they're turning off the game and explore other options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, and we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PlayStation 5 or PC. Now, again, once it's refunded and shut down, you won't have access to the game, which was a $40 title with £35. Maybe that was one of the things at the end of the video we'll talk about. If you got it from the PlayStation Store or direct, it may take 30 to 60 days, but you will get a refund. For customers who have purchased a physical copy at a retailer location outside of PlayStation, please refer to the refund process of the retailer you purchased it to obtain your refund, and Steam and Epic Games stores will be refunded over the coming days. Now, Firewalk is based in Washington, I believe the state, not the nation's capital. Back in 2018 and acquired by Sony last year, this is its debut game and had been in development for 8 years. So, literally 3 years. That's interesting. So, most likely Sony did the basic development first, then acquired Firewalk. Or maybe it was before they formed Firewalk. The timeline's a little weird. Unfortunately, this title has received mixed or average reviews from critics, where it has scores of 62 for the PlayStation 5 and 65 for the PC on average. Those are not good, especially for a game that needs to be lasting long periods of time. I'm turning this off because it's distracted by said close. Now, Video Games Chronicle itself said that it is a good shooter divorced from the reality of his genre. It is a good shooter based on a release strategy and price point that would have been far more at home at 2017 and feels dated today. This goes back to a previous thing when I said we have Overwatch at home. The game, which is multiplayer-only live service hero shooter, does provide fun, but even at its best, we never felt strongly enough about it that we tell someone 3 or 4 other live service games on the go to drop what they're doing, pay $40, and jump on. The performance is a major setback for PlayStation's live service. Sony said in November that it was halving the number of games that it was going to release to make sure they meet quality, and that didn't help Concord. And remember that Sony also canceled The Last of Us Online with Naughty Dog. Possibly because they were... Look, and the Cow's opinion is this. There are a lot of live service games. Right now, Overwatch 2 is the big dog in the room. Marvel Rivals is about to release and come take a huge chunk out of that. You have League of Legends. You have Defense of the Ancients. You have the new game that is coming from, what's it called? Deadlock. You have the new Deadlock, which is kind of a mashup of Overwatch and League of Legends, which people are really saying is going to catch on. It's very fun to play. And there's a lot of options, and a lot of live service games don't make it because it's hard to spend all of your time and money on one game. There's tons of other games constantly being released, constantly going on sale, constantly getting remastered. Hell, one of the biggest games I'm looking forward to is Dragon Quest III Remastered. It's going to be fun. It's going to be on the channel. And Concord is good. It was technically playable, which is a lot more than you can say from here is the Concord itself. Or actually, it's called the Night Star. Why was it called Concord? North Star, excuse me. Look, a month ago they were talking about it's getting a US exclusive PS5 controller and that there's no battle pass and free content being planned, but yeah, the $40 price point at a time when these types of games live on microtransactions that don't affect gameplay, XP boosts, or battle passes was a big, hard sell up front. It's just not what the market is used to or wants to pay. And look, a 62 and a 65, no one's going to rush out and get those. We talked at the beginning of the article. 25,000 copies may have been their top. You can't sustain a live service game with only 25,000 copies. Just last week, and over the holiday weekend, Concord players were complaining that there were less than 500 people on Steam, possibly more on PlayStation, but you still had 8 to 10 minute waits before you could get into a match because there were so few people. On a big holiday weekend, that's not good. And it doesn't make players want to log in a lot, and when you already have a player base problem, you're going to have an issue. And look, I know there's a lot of get woke, go broke out there. I don't want to touch on that. I will say that the cast list looked very much like knockoff Overwatch, and a lot of the characters look very similar to each other. If you take the outfit of character A and put them on character B, I don't know if I could tell the difference, which is not good. But worst of all is that they've said that they've taken it offline, and they've said they want to explore other options, including those that will better reach our players. Well, that's not really what they need to do. They need to drastically increase the player base. But it's very technically, it's very playable. There's no major bugs. And I think it's something they should be proud of. No major bugs. But they had just a shooter that didn't dazzle or wow or do anything new. Again, like this article says on Video Games Chronicle, we've been very at home, very competitive in 2017, but we're here 7 years later, and you're not doing it, unfortunately. And I feel bad because I know a lot of people at the studio worked really, really, really hard on this game. It's not fun to watch people's hard work fail like that. And I could tell it was getting to them. You saw articles or YouTube videos or shorts where some of the people who worked on the game were attacking the fans and if these YouTubers just wouldn't keep dumping on the game, it'd be fun. Dude, it wasn't. I promise you, it wasn't because a couple of big names on YouTube didn't like your game. It was because your game just wasn't fun. And I know that sucks. And I know that's terrible. So will Concord ever come back? I don't know, guys. Sony may decide to just cut their losses and be done with this. And that is unfortunate. Because I don't know if that doesn't mean that Firewalk Studios is going to be yet another offering to the gaming gods of sacrificial tribute. We've had a lot of layoffs, and your 8-year multiplayer game that cost $40 bombing on day one and getting just absolutely panned. Seven was about, actually had this argument with somebody on Discord who they went from Europe, and a 7 out of 10 is what this game was averaging at the time. Now it's in the low 60s, so it's even worse. But when it was 7 out of 10, he was like, well, that's fine, that's good. And it's like, no, it's not. And then it turns out they're from Europe, and I'm in America, and I'm like, no, a 7 out of 10 is like a C. And he's like, no, here it's more like a B. It's like, it's not good here. It's not bad, it just means you're average. But people don't want average, especially for $40 when Marvel Rivals is probably not going to have a cost of admission. Overwatch 2 does, but now they've gone free to play and other stuff because they realized they screwed the pooch, and Marvel Rivals is coming for them. League of Legends, Defense of the Ancients, and probably Deadlock do not have cost of admissions. So, guys, let me know down in the comments, did any of you even try this game? Because I took one look at it, it's like, nah, it looks like Overwatch from 5 years ago and not very good. Again, very playable, but none of the power. Most of the characters are like, oh, this is your version of Diva. This is your version of Soldier 76. And it's good that you have some. It's okay to like take parts of other characters to make it playable. Like Soldier 76 is a stereotype that you really want because the gameplay wise, because it makes it easy for like Call of Duty players to get in. Guys, let me know in the comments what you're thinking. You know what else you can do? You can play more games. Games are awesome. Concord apparently not so great and not even able to be played in a couple of days. But you deserve awesome. I'll see you next time. I mean, it just didn't look that great. I feel bad.